The original idea was to do stewardship on this property, which we've had for 17 years, and it started out, a little bit raw, but I knew that there were things going on that would be good to know about, especially in the long term with changes, both successional and climate changes. It seemed like a little bit higher level type of ecological observation would be a good idea. To observe the vernal pools, to observe invasive species, and to do something about them.
I really wanted the students to get an introduction to biological research, and so I wanted them to literally get their hands dirty, get out there in the field and take measurements and learn how to use the equipment of our field biology trade, how to assess the vernal pools, learn how to identify the species that were there, feel comfortable working in that environment, feel safe and comfortable being out in the field.
I mean, you should check this out for yourself so that you can, because otherwise it is hard to tell.
The amount of information that you gather just going on a hike with Bill and learning about the property and the history of the property and the things he's seen there, they're taking all of that in and they're getting a basic understanding of the natural history without having to have, you don't have to have a lecture, you don't have to read a book. That conversation passes that knowledge on.
Are they generally smaller than what students? Smaller than what?
Well, the mass yeah, the mass itself is smaller.
We have some just really basic, simple equipment that allows them to get a lot of information and really importantly get a lot of experience, get to see things up close and personal. So we created a sheet that reminded them what pieces of information they were going to be collecting at each pool they went to. So when they got there, they could reference that and make sure they remembered, as long as they filled everything out, that they had checked all the boxes for the day and recorded everything they were interested in having. And that's just an ongoing conversation between the students and those of us who are mentoring them and trying to help them decide what their project is going to be. One of our students was really fascinated with manipulating data and summarizing data and using Excel. And so she actually took some data from previous semesters that hadn't been analyzed and compiled it with current data that was being collected and created sort of a master data sheet. Now, moving forward, other students are going to be able to go into that reservoir of information and use it to compare the data they're collecting now to what's happened in the past, and also be able to see how they might do things differently. We talk a lot about working in an aquatic ecosystem, in a vulnerable aquatic ecosystem, so making sure that students understand that anything that's on their skin and on their clothing is going to dissolve in that water and infect those organisms. To actually hold them in your hand and look at them, you really start to connect to the animal and to think more about your role in their world and their role in your world.
Long-term ecological research can't be understood in a snapshot. These phenomena in the vernal pools repeat themselves, but not exactly. So the changes from one year to the next and the changes that we just can't fully anticipate, that's what will emerge if we can keep this going. We have 3 years worth of data. Hopefully we'll get another 10 years with me involved, and then possibly beyond that.
We're starting a long-term monitoring plan, and we've hit and missed a little bit in the first couple of years as we figure out what we want to record and what we want to monitor. I think the ultimate goal is that these students will go out each spring and monitor this set of pools in a consistent way, and that over time you're going to be able to use those data to see what's happening on the property.
Let's get them in there. I mean, I'm not too worried.
How many do you think we
all of them.
Just get them.
But we have to count them.
They've got to be counted.
So you multiply it 10. Okay, you're right. Yeah.
So that's, okay. So
Thank you.